on dais, our Dean, Superintendent, HOD, Professor Sunil Kumar, Professor Praful Sharma, the senior ophthalmologist of the town, ex-professor, Professor Rajiv Kumar, Dr. Kashyap, and many to whom I am not so well versed with. So how many minutes do you want to listen me? It depends on your tolerance, because by now you might be knowing that if I start speaking, I can keep on speaking for hours together. Well, dear students and residents, and of course the people from press and media, they are here. Well, I like ophthalmology too much because I have headed neuro-ophthalmology unit of neurosurgery for say a decade or so. And I have a close association with optic nerves, globe. I can assure you that I operated more orbital tumors in comparison to any ophthalmologist probably who is practicing and operating the orbital tumors. More than an average ophthalmologist, I think I have operated and written few guidelines also about the diagnosis. Of course, I did not do endoscopic excisions, but I have done n number of frontal craniotomies and osteotomies, and subsequently with opening of periorbita, entering into the cone and up to the orbital apex, probably even the orbital superior and inferior orbital facial tumors. These have been n number of times have been operated by me. Well, the life becomes hell if the vision is compromised, be it secondary to retinitis, primary optic atrophy, secondary optic atrophy, and secondary optic atrophy, you know, is mainly caused by intracranial tumors. Primary optic atrophy is caused by pituitary adenomas, supracellular tumors, germinomas, epidermoids, dermoids, meningiomas, Rathke's cleft, cyst, craniopharyngiomas, etc., who have direct appeal to the optic nerve and optic apparatus. Secondary optic atrophy, you must be knowing, all of you are senior people, that it is secondary to increased intracranial tension anywhere tumor it may be, which may cause the elevated intracranial tension beyond a limit. It will gradually result into secondary optic atrophy. Life really becomes very miserable if vision is compromised. Vision is something, the miraculous part of body which probably Almighty has given to us. And it's not only the ocular vision if compromised is take the life, it is the mental vision, if that is also compromised, is also chop off the life. Not in that sense. Everybody is born here, even laborer is earning his bread and butter every day and eating and sleeping and dreaming also in night. But there are people who dream in day, and in order to achieve those dreams, they work and work and work and think and keep on going, doing with their work, dedication, skills, dexterity, devotion, whatever you may say. As far as the glaucoma is concerned, I know very little about the glaucoma, you are the expert people, but I know that if the aqueous humor gets a vent, intraocular pressure can be sustained and maintained. This may be primary, secondary, you know it better. The acetazolamide, which has been used since ages in order to decrease the production of aqueous, and vis-a-vis to decrease the production of CSF as well, we are using in hydrocephalus cases. Nowadays, different kinds of the topical solutions are available to decrease the intraocular tension, barring I was just discussing with expert whether trabeculectomy and trabeculoplasty, laser trabeculoplasty is done or not. Very rightly he said that What is his name? Doctor from Calcutta? Yeah. The mixed response is not the mixed response, probably it is the knowing the exact indication as to what should be done when. Now, big dilemma with the advancement of medical science is this, that once we buy a tool, we keep every patient, I mean, as if the surgery is done for the sake of surgeon today. It's not done for the patient today. सर्जरी करना है, अरे हमारे पास तो एंडोस्कोप है, अरे क्या है छोटा सा ट्यूमर है, एंडोस्कोप से निकाल देंगे। रिजल्ट क्या है? पेशेंट वॉक्स इन ओपीडी एंड ही आस्क, डॉक्टर साहब आप सर्जन तो बहुत अच्छे हैं, बहुत नाम सुना है आपका, बहुत बड़े न्यूरो सर्जन है, लेकिन ये बताइए आप एंडोस्कोप से हमारी डिस्क निकाल देंगे कि नहीं? नाउ दिस पुअर फेलो डज नॉट नो दैट यू आर नॉट द पेशेंट ऑफ यूरोप, where the single disc has occurred and this can be taken out very simply by the help of endoscope. This poor man does not know that he has entire canal stenosed. He has not only one disc, the patient might be having multiple discs, patient might be having thickened ligamentum flavum, and canal and all the nerve roots are encroached, and the guy is asking for endoscopic surgery routinely. Because Google has given so much wisdom today. I was listening a joke today. वो सर्जन बाहर निकला तो अटेंडेंट ने पूछा कि डॉक्टर साहब सर्जरी का क्या हुआ, तो उसने पीठ पे हाथ थपथपाया और आगे बढ़ गया। फिर दूसरा सर्जन निकला, आप अभी 2-1 दिन में देख ही लेंगे उसको, बढ़िया जोक है, मैं एडवांस में सुनाई देता हूँ। आजकल व्हाट्सएप इंडस्ट्री जो है, global industry of WhatsApp, global university of WhatsApp is a big teacher. It has become a big teacher today. दूसरा सर्जन निकला कि भाई डॉक्टर साहब ने बताया नहीं, he just walked away, पेशेंट का क्या हुआ? कह रहे आई गॉट इट, वो नीट 2024 का सर्जन है। किसका क्या मतलब डॉक्टर साहब? कि वो यूट्यूब से ऑपरेशंस के स्टेप देख रहा था, उसमें एडवर्टाइजमेंट आने लगे। अब एडवर्टाइजमेंट आने लगे तो सर्जरी इंसिजन स्किप हो गया, और इसलिए भाई साहब आपका पेशेंट भी स्किप हो गया। तो दिस इज हाउ इवन ए वेल ट्रेन्ड न्यूरोसर्जन, माय असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर, आई आस्क्ड द डोजेस ऑफ सम ड्रग, he opened the YouTube. So everything has become YouTube based. Ophthalmologists are divided up ophthalmoscope, neuroscientists are divided up ophthalmoscope and hammer and tape, physicians are divided up stethoscope, percussion note and different kinds of the sounds which are vesicular and bronchial breathings are hardly heard today. I think everything has become investigation based. But what I wish to convey, that tension anywhere is bad. As far as the medical science is concerned, it has advanced too much. Say 20th century was the century for the genomics, proteomics, metabolomics and bioinformatics. The two things happened in last century, those were wonderful. Number 1, nanotechnology, and number 2, molecular biology. Because of these two things, multiple advances has occurred in different super specialties and subspecialties. And I am reasonably sure I delivered a talk to the physicists of Mumbai University, and they gave me topic of microfluidic technology. Most of you might not have heard, is mainly the physics. But since they invited me as a chief guest, I had to prepare it. So microfluidic is the technology, and I was just going through in ophthalmics also, and I came to know that the microfluidic appliances, microfluidic drug delivery system in the retina in order to stimulate the dying neurons have also come. And retinal microfluidic prosthesis have also come. They are not rampant in market, but probably they are in experimental phase. It's a big topic. If I keep on speaking on that, it will take too much time. It's mainly basic science, which you also be bored, though I can deliver that talk on microfluidic also. But researches are going on continuously in order to unveil decode different kinds of the diseases based on the genomic sequencing and genomic profile. But I must say that pressure anywhere is bad. See, if the pressure increases in orbit, it is called as glaucoma and it results into blindness. If the pressure increases in intracranial compartment, it results into herniation and death. If pressure increases in blood vasculature, it results into blood pressure and subsequently stroke and myocardial infarction and what, ischemia, blah, blah, blah. Along with the arrhythmia, if I am not mistaken, Professor Vidyapati ji. If the pressure increases on lungs, it may result into respiratory failure, maybe type 1 or type 2, depending on the primary disease. If pressure is increased on the kidneys, the different kinds of the kidney disorders and ultimately anasarca and subsequently compromises of the systems and death. If the pressure increases in the neurons of the mind, then what happens? That is the crux of the story. If the pressure, human brain is amounting 1.3 kg to 1.4 kg or so, and it has billions and trillions of neurons, and each neuron has 10,000 to 30,000 or 40,000 connections with the neighboring cells. The more than the stars in universe. And the information is so rapid in brain that it's nearly 260 or odd miles per minute. And every individual develops 70,000 thoughts in 24 hours. So you are living in a jungle of thoughts. Those thoughts can fetch a Nobel Prize for you. Those thoughts can cause the riots in the society, and those thoughts can fetch a Nobel cause for you, and those thoughts can lead into the jail also. And once the pressure increases in the brain, then what happens? That is called as stress. In modern society, the stress has become much, much commoner. Why the stress occurs? The stress occurs because once the mind says to perform and body fails to perform. That means the demand is much and supply is less. Imbalance between demand and supply. What happens? The stress occurs. And if stress occurs, what happens? Develops the fear psychosis, anxiety, apprehensions, worry. And worry is one thing which drains the mind and thought process. And there are two types of the individual to deal with it. Number one, the individuals who are anxious, agitated, apprehended, depressed, and sometimes even the behavioral changes occur because they fail to cope with the kind of stress they are suffering with. And there are people who can cope it with the very fine, cool, cozy mind with thoughtful process, and their thought process is based on the realistic foundation. So they accept what is the truth. In today's life, everybody, all of us have stress. People have stress at home because wife does not respond, or husband does not respond, or if both respond, then probably neighbor does not respond. If the neighbor also responds, then probably kids do not respond. And vis-a-vis, at workplace, peer pressure, exam pressure, peer pressure, duty pressure, jealousy, anxiety, anger, and what not. Buddha was the master of mind. The only master of mind born in the earth of India was the Buddha, who could master every thought, who could master and control the thoughts of other people, who can control the milieu along with him with the power of mind. Mind has enormous power. So what should be done if the pressure increases in the mind and neurons? Because we know that depression claims the 10% of the life because of the suicide. And depression has become rampant in the society today. So we should learn, I think if we keep, मुझे लगता है ज़्यादा हो रहा है ना? I think if we keep on speaking on this subject, this is not the subject for today, but only thing I will say that all of us should do meditation, should adopt the habit of solitude for 30 minutes or so every day and try to focus and concentrate. And use the power of mind is a pause where neurons go into the relaxation process and the mind becomes clear, mind becomes vacated, the mind becomes rejuvenated, body also as well. And the physical exercises in today's practice are must, nearly for 30 minutes a day. And the breathing, deep breathings opens the 60% of the closed alveoli, which increases our vital capacity, respiratory capacity, and total lung volume. I think there are many things which needs to be done in today's life in order to avoid the stress and in order to avoid the pressures given by peers, wife, husband, children, neighbors, relations, blah blah blah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And it was really inspiring and